Hey there, listeners. Welcome to the Family Podcaster where curiosity meets conversation. Join me as I explore intriguing topics from science to human emotion, inviting enthusiasts to share insights and stories from their perspectives. Whether you're a lifelong learner or a curious soul, welcome aboard as we navigate the landscape of knowledge together. Family Podcaster welcomes you to part 3 of our series on the water crisis situation in Bengaluru. In the previous episode, we explored the opportunities that Bengaluru possesses in addressing its water scarcity challenges. Today, we will shift our focus towards the threats that aggravate the crisis situation in this bustling metropolis. Understanding these threats is crucial for devising effective strategies to conserve and manage water resources in Bengaluru to ensure a better water future for all of us. Here's with me our esteemed guest Pradhyumna. Welcome back, Pradhyumna. How have you been?
Hi, I'm good. How about you?
I'm good as well. Pradhyumna, I'm sure everyone knows how fast Bengaluru is growing, extending to even rural areas surrounding it. With this rapid urbanization, the demand for housing is at an all time high. How do you see water needs of these housing societies being met?
Yeah. Uh, so if you look at as we tried to cover in the previous episodes, what is the mandate for BBNP? What is the mandate for BWSSB? So we've seen that Bangalore has got 800 square kilometers of area divided into three areas, core area of Bangalore on 245, another 330 coming from 8 ULBs, another 240 odd coming from the 110 villages what we have in Bangalore. Now, to understand the urbanization needs, let us target only the housing segment because that is something which anybody would want, right? Because roads and other peripheral ring roads, all that other amenities are a part of that. But housing is the one which becomes a big challenging thing because we've seen the IT growth. A lot of people will come and stay here, so they need housing. So let us see how the housing needs have actually grown in the last in the housing segment. So if you look at one of the I would say the uh, landmark acts which came up is the RERA Act, Real Estate Regulatory Authority Act, which the government of India given, and then of course every state started doing that. So now, as per that happened in 2016. So till that, uh, we've we've just been growing. Absolutely, a lot of people, buyers, a lot of people lost money because a lot of things were committed on paper, nothing was handled. So government realized that there is a lot of areas of improvement with respect to housing needs of people, and so that people are secured, their monies are secured when they go and buy a property. So that's how this RERA Act 2016 is a landmark act. Now, seeing that RERA Act, let us see post 2016 after this RERA Act. What are the kind of housing we have added in this, which is added to the urbanization thought? So post 2016, as we speak, we've added 1,000 million square feet. We've added 1,000 million square feet of mixed use development, gated communities, flats, and all that. So as projects, if you look at starting from 2016 onwards till date, there are 2,700 projects, and 62% is flats, that is housing, and then of course you'll have plots and villas and all. And in terms of a layman's language, if somebody has to understand what I'm trying to speak, in terms of area, because 1,000 million square feet is something which everybody will not be able to relate with. what is it that I'm trying to display. So imagine we've seen, as I told, 62% is coming from flats, and private developers, all these big developers, Brigade, Shobha, all these guys, and of course smaller developers as well, who've developed these societies, uh, have added to around 25 square kilometers of area of flat. When I say 25 square kilometers, one Chitradurga is the kind of flats area we have built in Bangalore. Same thing is coming from government side. They've also added layouts and other things in Bangalore. And then we have a lot of plots and villas taking up another 30% coming from that. So, and now you see who are the developers who have built this, and who are the people who have built this, and where the area is coming. You will realize that it's again 80-20 principle. 20% of these mixed use and the 3,700 projects, what we see, is all coming from the tier one, tier two developers, the big developers. 80% is coming from individual kind of growth. So that is where the challenges are. And now let us percolate down. Now we have understood that we've added 1,000 million square feet of urbanized housing in the entire area of Bangalore. And we've seen that who has contributed to that. Flats itself is 62%. And then it is adding to another 25 square kilometers, or 225 million square meters is the kind of square feet is the kind of what do you say, flat area which we have built, housing needs. Now, this is the, what do you say, the kind of numbers what we have seen. This is post 2016. I'm not talking about anything before the RERA Act, because now RERA makes it mandatory for every builder to register their the master plans cannot change. If you change, there will be a penalty. So there is and unless it is RERA certified, you can't even sell. No bank will come forward and give you a loan also. So people cannot buy. So there is a lot of regulatory mechanisms put in place. Now let us understand the water needs for these things. So as I as I said earlier, so 225 only flats. Let us target only about the flat portions of it. Presuming 80 to 100 flats on an average in these projects of 25 square kilometers area, what I said, will add up to around 130 mld of water. And so that is the kind of need of water. And the more you are in a gated community, bigger, larger community, you end up adding to more set of challenges. For example, if you are beyond 120 flats, you've got to have a sewage treatment plant in place. Less than 120 is not mandated. Similarly, then the making sure of water management becomes more critical, because you've got to have a rainwater storage tank. You've got to make sure that borewells are in place, because you may be in this 110 villages area. The development could happen this, as I told you, 1,000 million square feet is not happening in the core areas of India. Core areas are also happening, but also in the extended areas, 110 villages or the 8 ULBs, where BWSSB is not yet reached in terms of, of sewerage or in terms of water also. There's still a work in progress. So that is something which puts up with the challenges of these societies and its system.
That's quite a multifaceted approach. Uh, but what challenges do these communities face due to water scarcity and wastewater management?
Yeah, as I said, now imagine like this: any household which has got a household which has got a kitchen, has got a household by definition. And imagine 5-member family is staying. They would need 750 liters of water, and they will throw back 600 liters of 80% of that comes out as wastewater. Now, as I told you, if you are in a core area, you have you are just you have to divide this into three, four segments. One is the first segment is you've just taken a 20 flats, 20, 30 odd flats in a core area. Then you are covered by the BWSSB. Rarely, uh, there are places where maybe 5% is still uncovered by sewerage system or by water supply. So there is a Kaveri water coming in place. And there is a sewerage system, that is sewered areas are there. There are a lot of unsewered areas are also there, but that percentage is very minimal in the core areas. So you're actually safe. You're like any other individual house builder. So this is one segment of the problem. So you need to just make sure that rainwater is harvested properly. Have some rainwater storage tanks, so that in case of any exigency, emergencies, where BWC is not able to give you water, then you have some water. So this is one set of a problem which we address. Or as such, I won't say there's not a problematic area. Now the same thing you are in a urban local body, because as we speak, I think we've 540 square kilometers is what we've been able to reach in urban local bodies. A lot of areas, a lot of pockets are still there where they have to. There is a lot of unsewered areas in that. So, as I said, even the 110 villages, one is this ULBs. Still, the coverage is only around 67% is the coverage of water supply for BWSSB. 33% is still work in progress. And so adjoining these ULBs, if you're water flat, then your problem is further aggravated, because there is a plan in place. They have to put around 2,500 kilometers of distribution network. They have to have STPs built. They have to develop that infrastructure. Basically, it is all a work in progress. You can't expect things to happen in a jiff. So if you have bought a flat in those 110 village areas or the ULB areas, then you you have to do much more homework as compared to a guy who's doing it in the poor area, because then you end up in case of no water available. There's no water available for these people, and they have to depend on bore wells. So the moment you depend on the bore wells, you have to make sure that there is a rainwater harvesting done to those bore wells, and also the rainwater storage tank, which is storing all the water in this. So that becomes, I would say, a lot more critical for. It depends on where you actually bought the flats.
So it's evident that managing water resources effectively is crucial. Where do you see the government's role in ensuring the needs of people and housing are met?
Yeah, as I told you, we've see, government has been doing it. They've been doing it. 67% is covered, another 33% is work in progress. But 110 villages is a major chunk of work which is to be done. I'm sure a lot of work has been done in that. It is adding to another 1 lakh connections, household connections. It is adding to around 400 kilometers of sewer network. Main sewers is required. Some 130 MLD of STPs is required. So all that is a plan in place. They've been working on that, but it will take a lot of time. I would say even 3-4 years as we speak, uh, to come to a situation wherein you have everything in place in those 8 ULBs as well as the adjoining Gram Panchayats, which is a part of BDMP. So till that time, what do you do? Is a question which most of them will have, and that is where the role of lakes, that is where the role of groundwater recharge, that is where the role of rainwater harvesting, that is where the role of rainwater storage tanks, all this comes up comes up to be. It becomes more imperative that they have this done. That's what happens.
Yes, absolutely. Now, shifting our focus to Bangalore, where are these housing projects predominantly coming up, and is the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewage Board equipped to meet their needs?
Yeah. See, if you get into the core areas, of Bangalore. Let us assume that, I mean, I see that 100 flats, 200 flats areas are also available in core areas. We've seen the development in the past. Now also we've seen that there are projects, but that projects are very limited unless they have a major chunk of land which they're able to get from from the land holders. So I don't see much of core area development. Core area development, that means when I say Bangalore core area, you will have more of you will have you will have more of what do you say, eight flats, 10 flats, 20 flats kind of development in the core areas. You will not have large scale development happening. Of course, 100, 200 flats are also there. We've seen a lot of developers having access to those kind of lands. But nonetheless, that percentage is very less as compared to the 8 or 10 flats. So, and as the city has there's no more lung space available. There's no space available in the core areas, and core areas you will also realize a lot of traffic, lot of it's all you can say Jayanagar, Vijayanagar, all of the planned kind of a development. So you will not find big developments happening there. So obviously, all these builders, community, and others have to move on to the 8 ULBs in the extended areas outside the Bangalore limits or the core area limits. So all this development is happening in the 110 villages pockets and the 8 ULBs, what the one TMC, Kengeri, and 6 CMGs, which are basically the other urban local bodies which got added in 15 years back, which got added to the BNP. So this is where the development is happening, and that is where the more of the problem, because BWSB is still work in progress with respect to giving water to those areas, as compared to what they've already given the core areas. That is.
From what we talked about till now, Pradhyumna, I guess it is very important to think one must consider water to be an asset in our lives. Now, please shed some light on how we need to move forward with this situation, especially for the citizens looking to buy property in Bengaluru. What steps do you recommend to take? What steps do you recommend they take to ensure they are making an informed decision in the light of water crisis?
See, first and foremost thing, most of the buyers have to visit the RERA website. Now, RERA website is every other property is registered. Any kind of a development, it is a plot or a villa, or a flat, mixed use development, everything has to be registered in the RERA, and the builder's complete information is available. Even the litigation history is available, encumbrances, what kind of a katha it is, when the land got converted from a Gram Pana site to a where you can build a society, from an agricultural land, where it got, when it got transferred, who are the original owners. All the documentation is available at the RERA website. And so one thing, what if you divide the problem into three parts, one is the legality and the land part of it. In terms of anybody who would want to first thing, what we all do is, what anybody should do is get a legal vetting done for all these documentation which is available there. In fact, they will also give the litigation history. If there could be a big developer, let us not look into anybody. I mean, it's like you cannot believe right hand should not believe the left hand. You may be a very big developer, a very big name in the industry, but still he might have got into litigation history. There might be a litigation property which he is building on, and there may be a big court case going on there. So all that documented information is available in your website. So people have to first access that from the legal standpoint, so that you are sure that the land what you are purchasing this land is is legal and it is meant for that only. So tomorrow somebody does not come and evacuate. This is the first part of it. The second part of it is we have to ask fundamental questions. Now we've seen this in the last 2 months. We've been seeing in the newspapers that 10 crore flat or a villa is inundated with water for 3 months. That means somebody did not give a thought to drainage management. We've seen a 3 crore flat, there's no water, and they had to go and take a property on rent just to make sure that the water is available. So we've seen these kind of things. Why this has happened is we've blindly believed builders. We've not asked fundamental questions. The buyers have to ask a lot of fundamental questions to these builders. Ask them whether groundwater recharge has been done or not. Because everybody will show a borewell. Sir, we have put a borewell. We got 3 inch of water. What does a 3 inch means to you? In fact, if he shows when you get the latitude and longitude of that particular area, and then complete plan is available, I would suggest go to a hydrogeologist. He will understand a groundwater table much better than anybody else. He can at least tell you whether it is a confined aquifer or an unconfined aquifer, whether that water is sufficient there or not, how long that water will be sufficient or it will be available for you to use. All that a hydrogeologist will be able to do. I mean, you can ask him for an assessment report. The way we do a legal vetting for land, similarly, you have now the paradigm has shifted because of the water crisis. You have to go to the next level and ask all these fundamental questions. One is the rainwater. I asked about it all talked about groundwater emissions. The second point is about rainwater storage tank. It becomes very important because imagine 2 or 3 acres of land which is being which you have built a lot of flats there. You have to do a contour study and have a low-lying area. Route all your roof water, uh, rainwater which collects in the roofs of these flats, and route it to a rainwater storage tank. And it has to be necessarily in a low-lying area, so that all the runoff also goes to that. So this can come in handy when you are actually in drought conditions, when no borewell is working. This will give you a lot of reciprocity. So that is a need. What is the capacity of that? How the water reaches these tanks? All these questions has to be asked, and you have to ask about water management plan. And whenever you are going for beyond 120 flats are available in any of this, you have to further ask about what is the technology of a street, what is the capacity of a street, where is it located? Is it located at -4, basement 4, where there is no access, there is no air access, which stinks beyond the stage? So you have to also ask about what is the reuse. How are we reusing this uh, STP water? Is it sufficient to reuse for all your toilet flushing and other things? Or are you trying to discharge beyond using it? Gardening, how are we trying to do? All these kind of questions have to be asked uh, to those workers, and also make sure that uh, we visit the RERA website and get a lot of download of information. If a particular STP technology is mentioned, ask what is the end cost. Has somebody thought through that? Has somebody worked on that? What could be the operation and maintenance cost? So, what is the shelf life of all those electromechanical equipments? So, if you may not know, a layman may not know all this, then at least he can consult an environmental engineer who works on these technologies to give an assessment report of that plant which is coming up or which has already been installed, so that he can make an informed decision before you buy a property. You do all your homework and then you go and shell out your advance. Is what I feel.
That's some sound advice indeed. Now, turning to the government's role, where do you see the areas of improvement to tackle the water crisis effectively?
We will divide when it comes to government role. Let us divide this into three phases, three parts. One is for the lakes and ponds. What is the kind of thing which they have? One is we all know that they have to make sure that all the lakes are to be regenerated. There has to be a consistent focus, and they have to do it because time is ticking and we have less time for that. The second point is there is a authority called KPDCA, Karnataka Tank Conservation Development Authority. There is an act also. There's the KTCDA form and there's an act which came up in 2014. And they had an amendment in 2018. Now here, basically from a minor irrigation perspective, this came up. Entire Karnataka, any tank or a pond or a lake, this is the authority which has got the in charge. They are in charge. Now they prohibit, if you look at the amendment, they prohibit recreational activities in the lake, prohibit lot of activities. 30 meters buffer of your tank bund, you cannot do any development, you can't do anything without their permission. Although they insist, it is a great idea. But if you if you look at on the other side of flip side of it, now unless there is a recreation, unless there is a private participation, you can't develop all these tanks and you can't use it as an effective recharge structure because it calls for too much amount of money. It calls for a lot of money, which any government will have to think 10 times. So when it comes to too much amount of money, the decision goes delayed, takes its own sweet time. There will be, what do you say, you know, as we all do, we park element of money and then next year and then next year. It keeps going on because of lack of money. So one thing is if you have to get a PPP developer who can at least maintain these lakes properly maintain this lake, there has to be a element of revenue generation for members. There could be a boating activity, there could be a kids area, there could be a zip line, there could be a segway, there could be a lot of opportunities which you have to create so that he is taking care of the lake also because one is you have to do the development activities and then he is also earning some money out of it. Not a problem. So that the whole idea is you have you should be able to monetize that particular lake. Otherwise, it will be in this shabby state of affairs unless you are able to get a private developer who can do that. This is not applicable to every whatever is in your municipal corporation limits. Those things can be thought of like this. Whatever is in your mindset in terms of minor irrigation, that can always continue to be in, can be a minor irrigation tank, can still act like that. Whereas a lake which is ecosystem is sitting in a city has to have a different approach so that we maintain the lake also, and then we also have there is ways and means for government to do. So that is the first problem we address. The second problem is housing and RERA. The housing and RERA part of it. So we've seen that there is a registered uh, kind of agent certified. There are certified agents there who can sell the housing plots and housing leads to the people. So now with this water crisis, I think RERA has to rethink and revisit on having certified drainage engineers, having certified environmental engineers who can understand the water management principles better. You can have certified water supply engineers. So that similar to a legal lawyer who vets the PC and other katas and other documents uh, from the land perspective, uh, these people can do what is required from the rainwater storage, rainwater has the builder done the right thing or not. So that is one thing which government has to rethink on the revisit on the policy side of it. That is the areas of improvement. And one that is we've now touched upon lakes, we've touched about housing and area. Now what about reuse of treated wastewater? I see as early as 2020, there was a document which was circulated across by the central government to come up with a policy on reusing of treated wastewater. That's a great thing. I think it is not a table. I think Karnataka also should have a policy for reuse of treated wastewater in the similar lines of state government and insist upon tertiary treatment, insist upon making sure that people or industries and other bodies are giving only are being given only tertiary treated water. Uh, One of the examples which I want to give here is the KNC Valley project. A lot of people from Tumkur, Kolar, all these places, they know that there's a drought for continuous spell of 10 years in those areas. It's impossible for anybody to go to those areas. So what government did was, it's a commendable job from BWSSB and MI coming together and sending 440 ml of water, that is secondary treated sewage water, treated water, by having 150 kilometers of pipeline to all these Tumkur districts and other places, and filling 137 tanks, my tanks basically. Uh, this was a tank filling project which they did. And after that, Indian Institute of Science was asked to do an impact study of what is the impact of this project. And they found that the groundwater recharge rates have gone up by 73% because of that. Agriculture has been increased. So they had, I would say, around 4 pointers which they worked on. One is increasing groundwater levels by 73%, improvement of groundwater quality, improvement of agricultural productivity, and then 10 times improvement in groundwater recharge rates. That is phenomenal, I would say. So, when we can do that in Tumkur district by sending secondary treated sewage water, why can't we do the similar kind of a thing in Bangalore, in all these lakes, use it as a recharge body? Now, with the success of that, they spent close to 1,500 crores for this project. With the success of KMC, now they're contemplating on HNI Valley, Valnakora Valley. From there again, I think 220 ml of water will be sent to 67 tanks in Kolar, Mulbar, all these places where there's severe drought and there is no way for you to recharge. So, in spirit and letter, these projects have shown that these tanks and lakes are actually doing a great service in terms of groundwater recharge. So we have to only implement that in a slightly different mode, maybe tertiary treat it and put it into these lakes in the city because absorbing the city limits. So that is one takeaway which I would say government has to think on. So I think we've covered all the three aspects. One is lakes, one is housing and RERA, and then reuse of treated wastewater. I think these three, if they are able to come up with revisit the policies, revisit the thought process, what they are doing now, I'm sure it will do a great service in terms of handling the water crisis.
Those are some insightful points, Pradhyumna. Finally, for those who already own property in Bengaluru, what actions do you recommend they take to mitigate the impact of the water crisis?
Yeah. So for people who already got into, who've already bought these flats and other things, there are a couple of things which I would suggest them to do. I'm sure they would have taken a lot of pains in understanding these things. Uh, if there is borewell, if your dependence is on borewell, then please consult a hydrogeologist and make sure that the groundwater recharge. You recharge those borewells. There is enough harnessing, so that all the rainwater is diverted towards that. If that is the only source for you, then if you are, another thing is rainwater storage tanks. Make sure that there is a low-lying area. If already there is already development has already happened, get a survey done. They will do a block leveling, or we call it as a block leveling or contour maps, and they will identify which is the lower lying area in your gated community. Then you put a rainwater storage tank, divert all your roof water collections towards that, so that this can come to you what do you say, as a respite. When everything goes off, at least you have some storage of water which you can use for various purposes. That is something which you have to do. Uh, and then if drainage is the problem, lot of areas, I get to know that 2 feet, 3 feet water is always there for 3 months, 4 months. If that is a problem, again you have to have a topo survey or a block leveling done, understand the contour maps, and then look for a low-lying area, divert all that water so that the water is channelized towards that. And then you have to have a pump, dewater it, and take it into various places. Maybe you can use it for use. And if STP is your issue, a lot of 120 flats and above, if you have if you've built a STP, sewage treatment plant, then builder would have built. He gets after 5 years, he gets initially consent to establish, then consent to operate is given. After that, he can walk away. After 5 years of his role, he's got no role to play. Now, any mishap, anything what you do there, if you have not maintained, you don't maintain, or you don't understand how to maintain it, then everything will fall on you, on the flat owners, which will be a very big cost to even look for. So one is thought process is that you have to consult a sensible environmental engineer who understands this STPs, who has designed these STPs, understand what are the technology there, and what all the equipments have gone wrong, what all equipments have to be refurbished, or there's a shelf life which has gone off now, we have to replace it. What is the cost? That is one aspect of it. And then can you reuse that water? You have reused that water. A lot of new, I would say, entrepreneurs have come up in this space, wherein there's one company called Tankerwala. What they will do is whatever you've used, the reused water, your secondary treated sewage water, they will collect it from you, and then they will have a filtration plant. They will have next processes done, tertiary treated, and then take it into, give it to all these industries, all these construction sites for using in the construction purposes. They will make sure that the construction site requirements are met, and then they will give that water. And there is some white water, Boston white water, some companies there. All these people have, I would say, it's a great thing what they're doing. They're taking a lot of risk to come up with this in this space and help you out. Consult them, put them so that you can at least have an MOU done with them and give those water to these people. And they will have, I would say, imagine like this. You have some 3, 5, 6 communities in nearby areas, and you don't know what to do with the wastewater because you've consumed everything. Gardening is done, toilet flushing is done, every aspect of the use is done. Now, what do you do with the balance water? If you assume 60% is in there. So, what these people do is they use Muslim white water or tanker water or everybody development is that they will set up filtration plants in some common area, and you can take put the water in tankers and give it to them, and they will treat it and then give it to construction. So they are actually doing a very good work of sort of integration of all these pockets of places where these water is available and different. So that's a great thought. I mean, I'm sure. I think these are the things which these existing associations in these communities to think through and have an MOU with them. Is what I feel. In the long run, this is what.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our guest expert Pradhyumna for sharing his valuable insights and expertise on the water crisis situation in Bengaluru. Your recommendations provide a hopeful roadmap for a more sustainable future. Your knowledge and perspectives have truly enriched our discussion, Pradhyumna.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine. Great that you've organized this podcast, especially in the realm of water, because I think as citizens you all have a great role to play, and this kind of podcast helps in spreading some knowledge across people who would want to understand the nuances of the government side of problem. Because if you look at our podcast, the first was more focused on what government has done so far in terms of handling the water crisis. And the second one, if you look at where are we with respect to housing needs and where are we with respect to that, where are we going wrong, is something which we try to address. I'm sure this will help some of them at least in doing their homework before they buy houses, and of course government as well in terms of areas of development. Thank you.
Absolutely, Pradhyumna. Your contributions have been invaluable. Remember, listeners, understanding the water crisis and actively working towards sustainable solutions is essential for the well being of our cities and communities. Thank you once again, Pradhyumna, for being our guest and sharing your expertise. And for the listeners, thank you for your time and patience. If you have any further questions, you can contact Pradhyumna on his LinkedIn, and or me. If you have any questions, you can contact me and we can answer your questions in another podcast. I hope you found this discussion engaging and insightful. Be sure to join me in the next episode with another exciting topic and explore new perspectives. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep listening. Thanks for being part of this podcast community. Your family podcaster Pragati Achar signing off.